every night. Yeah.
You installed a special phone line just for them.
Yes.
The word that I saw in another interview you did that I thought is worth talking about is that there was no compensation because you did it for love. Talk a moment about that.
Well, it's true. It's true. During all the time that I knew the two of them, of course I never charged them a dime. They were friends of mine. They were not employers of mine. After John died, Yoko always reminded me, when I recounted that, not to use the word died. Yoko says I should always use the word murdered. And for people to keep that full frame in their brain. John did not have the peaceful passing he deserved. Wouldn't you do anything for someone you once loved that dearly without running the meter? In 1980, after John was murdered, Yoko asked me to speak for the estate. I did. I had been compensated. Nothing changed.
You know, you mentioned him being murdered. I think there's a story in the book about somebody suggesting that John would be murdered on an island, and no one ever talks about Manhattan being an island.
They had gone to a reader in Greece years before, and during the course of the reading, they were both told that John would be murdered on an island. And there was another warning that came before his murder. And the two of them just were not thinking in terms of the island of Manhattan. By the way, I was born in the Bronx, you know? And I was raised in Washington Heights. And I came here when I was like 16, 17, you know, become a radio person, of course, with a real bad stutter. And all of my life, I never thought I was living on an island.
Thank you. Let's take some questions.
Thank you, David, for those questions. I mean, you really are a superb interviewer, and I appreciate it. David Lee.
That's your time. Questions? I see people with Beatles shirts. I know friends of mine are here. You must have some questions. If you don't, I've got more. Okay, this young woman here in the back.
Hi, Elliot. I'm a friend of Shri. She's going to be here any minute. She told me to... Can you hear me? Okay.
I'm far away from you.
All right. I'm a friend of Shri, and she's going to be here. She apologizes. But I do have a question regarding Yoko and all her psychic tarot card readings throughout the whole relationship. I remember reading that she would get the cards said on the telephone.
Oh, thank you. Now you can hear me. Yoko would call someone on the phone and they would do a tarot card reading, what John is doing at the appropriate time in Los Angeles while he was with May Pang or having his lost weekend. So it seems like she consulted psychics all the time. She did numerology, and do you ever recall her being off on a reading and it didn't come true, or everything was meant to be? She knew John would come back to her after the lost weekend. Do you understand that question? It's sort of long.
No. My answer probably will be, but the question is just fine.
Okay.
Yoko constantly consulted with astrologers, with tarot card readers, with numerologists, with palmists. She had some of them on her payroll, some lived in Japan and other places, and she rarely made any choices or decisions without consulting with one of them. She would tell me that she's going to run something past them, but she elected on most occasions not to share the advice that she was given with me. I didn't pry.
I get it.
I don't know if a psychic of any kind had predicted that the relationship with May Pang during that lost weekend period would come to an end, or how it might end, or any of that stuff. She just felt that John would come back when he was ready to come back.
Yes, I remember reading that. Thank you, Elliot. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to read your book. Great title, by the way.
He wrote it.
I picked it, but you picked it. There's so many Beatle books out there, but that We All Shine On is just an amazing title, and will be an amazing book for me to read. Thank you.
It is an amazing book. Questions? There's a gentleman way in the back.
Hi, Elliot. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you got involved with the lost Lennon tapes and how that material was selected and discovered or uncovered.
It was during the course of the inventory that I was taking that I found a location above a bedroom that had shoji screens. And, I was going from apartment to apartment. I was opening every drawer, every closet. I was going downstairs to the Dakota basement. I took this responsibility seriously. And when I opened the shoji screen, I saw these cardboard boxes filled with hundreds of cassette tapes that may have been marked John speaking, John composing. And I thought, well, this certainly has to be preserved. There came a time later when I was representing a big radio distributing company called Westwood One, and I was meeting with the CEO, and I told him about these tapes, and he said, wow, hundreds of hours of unreleased John Lennon material. We would love to circulate that around the world. I called Yoko, and I said, so they would like to do this. And Yoko said, well, it'd be a wonderful way of sharing the material. The material obviously was not the kind of thing you could release commercially. You couldn't dance to it. And we set up a meeting with the three of us, talked about it. And Norm Pattis, the CEO of that company, and Yoko struck a deal. The next day, the lawyers made them sign the papers, and the Lost Lennon tapes ran for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes, heard around the world for 4 years. Here's the thing that I want you to embrace. This turns out to be the longest bonus track that was ever presented before these excerpts were released. Think about it. Outside of, for a few jazz artists or folkways records, if it wasn't scheduled for release, if it was on the cutting room floor, they threw it away. So this was the first time that you could hear how John created Strawberry Field. You could hear him first on the acoustic piano, the acoustic guitar. Then you could hear the piano version. And all of them were presented on this series. It was a joy for me to be able to do that. That's how that series came about.
I used to listen to it every week, and I just wanted to say thank you. It was a really great show. Thanks for putting that together.
Thank you.
We have a question up front, and then there's a gentleman in the back.
From the lady wearing the beautiful beret.
Thank you. Hey, Elliot.
Oh!
Over here. Didn't mean to scare you. My name's Justin Sandler. And
Hi, Justin.
Hello. First, I want to say congratulations on completing your first book.
Thank you.
I'm rounding the final editing of my first book right now, and I'm really just wanting to asking about the process for you. Other than the 2 fingers up till 6 a.m., how did you enjoy or not enjoy the writing process? And did you come across any challenges and have to figure out a way to kind of keep going even when maybe creativity was stopping you or endurance was slowing down? It's a big process, as I've learned, and I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey.
Truthfully, I didn't enjoy it. It's a lot of hard work. Being a writer is a lonely journey. I understand why some writers couldn't live a life outside of typing or scribing. I don't know if I could ever do that again. It was hard. It was hard, but it was necessary. That was my trip. I'm going to wish you well in your journey. Pay no attention to how it was for me. You might find whatever you're going to be writing as being really therapeutic and inspiring for you. And I wish you luck.
Thank you. It has been. And it's been, it's overcoming a cancer journey I went on, so it's been very therapeutic in itself to go through and process so much. And I'm going to be done with the edit in a few weeks, so we'll see what's next.
Congratulations to
Thank
both.
you. And thank you for your stories tonight.
Thank you. This gentleman in the back with the beret and the beard.
Hello, Elliot.
Hello.
It's an honor to be with you here tonight. We've really enjoyed all the stories that you've shared with us here. And I'm very curious to learn more about your time in Laurel Canyon. And I understand that John lived with you for a time there during his Lost Weekend. I'd like to know if that's true, if he spent a lot of time with you at Laurel Canyon and what that was like, and if perhaps he wrote any music during that time, or if you were party to any jam sessions or things like that.
There's a lot of mythology about my life in Laurel Canyon, and that's part of it. No, John never lived with me. He visited me in that wonderful little 1,600 square foot house at the top of Kirkwood Drive. We spent evenings there. He attended a little get-together that I had where there was a jam session with, I believe, Mickey Dolenz and Harry Nielsen, some others. I taped it. I'm still looking for it in the archives. I'll let you know when I find it. That thing went on half the night. I loved Laurel Canyon. It's 10 miles, 5 miles from where we're currently sitting, and it was a different world back then. I spent the best years of my life in that canyon. And you can leave Laurel Canyon, which I did over 35 years ago, but the canyon never leaves you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's a woman here, about 5 rows back.
Hi. I was wondering if there is any story that you wish you included in this book that you'd like to share with us tonight.
You know, as the stories go by, and the little individual things, the excerpts go through your brain, I don't know if I was successful in capturing the love that he showed to me. It wasn't frequent, it was not overt, it was not superficial. Little things. I went to visit him once at an apartment that he was sharing with May Pang during the course of their separation. And May went into a different room so we could have a private moment out on a balcony overlooking the river. And he asked me if it was difficult being there with him. And I said, you know, it is. I've just left Mother at home, and I took a cab to see you. You're not together, and that saddens me. And he put his arm over my shoulder. And he said, we are all meant to be where we are supposed to be. And he looked into my eyes to see how the separation affected me. It was a sweet and loving moment. And John didn't frequently put his arms around me. And that's a big deal to me.
You do beautifully in the book talk about the times you did get hugs and half hugs. So we get a sense of it in terms of the physical aspect of this intimacy, but there is kind of an unbelievable, surreal aspect to the fact that you were both of their closest friends at the same time. Spent more time talking to both of them than anyone else alive. It was, I won't call it a triangle because obviously it wasn't a love triangle, but it was a love triangle. David. As in your role as a spokesperson and publicist, who came up with the brilliant phrase, the lost weekend, to refer to something that went on for well over a year? Any idea?
I don't know.
I thought it might have been you, because you hear lost weekend, oh, he just went on a bender for a couple of days.
No, John went on a bender for longer than a couple of days.